In 3, 2, 1.
John, are we live?
We're live, sir.
What's going on, buddy?
Not too much, my man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited about the show. The pre-going live has been so much fun with these two that I can't wait to get into it.
I was trying to get everybody to quiet down a little bit so we could go live. There's a lot of energy here.
I almost wish we could have like a pre-show kind of camera feeding in, although we sometimes say some things that probably shouldn't say on air. But
that's why I do the countdown.
I'm excited for this one. What's going on?
Nothing, just working. Just came off the mayoral election. I think 12 people voted. That was great. Unbelievable.
Well, don't
Everybody
complain
complains,
if you didn't show up.
Exactly.
I live in Northbrook, so nothing I could do except
Willowbrook. But you made a great point because we both do so much business here that people that live in the burbs but spend money and time and employ people should have some voting right.
Yeah, Eric and I chatted about that before we went live. We said, we both live in the suburbs, but we have businesses in the city, and kind of stinks not to be able to vote, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Deep words.
Any shout-outs from you, buddy?
Oh, of course.
He always one-ups me. I don't even have one today.
Oh, well. All right.
I have like 30 seconds to come up with one, so
yeah, TikTok.
I'll think.
So I just want to shout out to my beautiful better half for some awesome socks.
No, I can't one-up you.
She did.
She's watching.
I hope so. I got a box of a dozen pair of socks, individually wrapped, awesome colors, all kinds of craziness. I put up a picture on Instagram a little bit earlier from the studio here, and I just wanted to say thank you. And another shout-out to everybody that ran for mayor, except for Paul Bayless.
It's a sore spot for him.
Doing a good job, even though, naturally there's going to be winners and losers, but, at least they got in the game. For
you two, he just stood us up last week, so it's a sore spot for John.
Yeah. We had him booked for weeks, and all of a sudden it got too busy for us.
So I'm going to one-up your Sox game next week. I didn't get the notice that you were going to put up that photo of your socks. Eric's got cool socks on, too. I mean, mine are okay. Yeah, I'm not going to try to pull my pants up and show you because
it's not that kind of show.
I'll tear my pants like I normally do. But, none for me. I was out of town, so I don't have a shout-out.
Really? That's your excuse? I was out of town.
I had a lot of tacos and tequila all weekend, John, until last night, so bear with me.
All right. So next week, you're going to come in fully loaded.
Better shout-out next week, and I'm going to have better socks than you have on next week.
And while we're talking about tequila, got a bottle?
Shoot, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I'll bring you something from home.
Video evidence.
Man, I promised you a bottle.
Uh-huh.
I'll get you something from here.
Yeah. Now, from here, I could do that. It'll
be something good from here.
All right.
You know what's funny, though? Like, all the good tequila that used to be authentic there that's not sold here or used to not be able to be sold here is sold here. Like Clase Azul and then some of the really nice stuff. I was in the duty-free, and they had, I used to drive a race car that said Tequila Patron on the side. So I love all different types of nice Patron. And they're like, this bottle is only sold in Mexico. And I Google it, and it's like every place in the U.S. sells it, too. And I'm like, not going to get me duty-free.
Yeah. So I like that name. I'm a 12-year-old boy. Duty. All right. That's enough of that.
Maggie said we have an international watcher, her cousin from Australia, Keith Doré.
Oh, Keith. What's up, my man?
Oh, cool.
We're going to come see you as soon as possible.
WheelHouse is international.
Boom.
I'm going to start with our first guest because I think we're going to breeze past an hour today. Christie Ross, she's the president and CEO of Tastytrade. I'm reading this because I don't want to mess it up. She was named by Ernst & Young as Entrepreneur of the Year. She's been featured on Crain's Magazine as a Tech Top 50. She also has a Wikipedia page. So I Googled her, and that's super, super cool. That's super awesome for me. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And I want to find out where to get those socks.
Yeah, where do you get those socks?
We'll have to ask Maggie. Maggie will type it in, I guess.
Yeah, Maggie's watching. Maggie, if you hear us, let us know where you get John's socks. We're all going to get them too. Then I'll just match them. You send me a picture of what he's wearing every day, and I'm just going to match them on the show.
No, you can't do that to me. Come on.
Tell us what Tastytrade is, because I don't want to butcher it, because it does a whole lot of things.
Absolutely. So Tastytrade is an online financial network, and we produce 8 hours of live programming every day talking about the financial markets, helping people like you and me and learn how to trade. So we do about 50 different shows, all the way from beginners all the way to advanced. We also one of the shows I do is called Bootstrapping in America. So it's the only show on our network that is not trading related, but it is entrepreneur related. So we interview CEOs and founders every day, and really allow them to tell their story, kind of like what you guys are doing here today. So
I love that. And you 8 hours of content a day is so much content. It's a fourth of the day you guys are pushing out content. And it's so much relative to right now content, because I went on your site, and I encourage anybody listening to go on the site and take a peek at it, because a lot of trading sites will have, a handful of videos up to kind of teach you what to do with trading, but it's not real-time information, which you guys provide. What made you think of doing Tastytrade?
Well, so 8 years ago, my partner, Tom Sosnoff, we're co-CEOs. He was one of the founders of Thinkorswim, and I was the CFO working with him there. When we sold that to TD Ameritrade, he had an idea to make finance fun and actionable. And fun is totally like an oxymoron, right? Along with finance. But I was like, let's do it. So jumping in, knowing nothing about media at all, we jumped in, rented an old hip hop studio on Huron, and bought a couple cameras and said, let's throw some spaghetti at the wall. We knew nothing about media, but we did know and understand very deeply the problem we were trying to solve. There was nothing like super entertaining in finance, and nothing really truly actionable all day long during the trading hours. Right. So we definitely accomplished that. But that's only one part of our business.
What are some of the other parts?
So we have our content, which is Tastytrade, and then at the beginning of 2017, we launched another brokerage called Tastyworks. So we built trading technology and sort of all the content and everything we talk about all day. We have I'll call it a technological expression of all of that, making all of the stuff easy to do that we talk about on our network. And it's an actual brokerage firm, so like a TD Ameritrade or an E-Trade, but it's all focused around our content. And then this year, in 2019, we'll be launching a futures exchange.
You are so busy. So I always ask this question of people, what makes more sense when they're in the trading world? Because I have some friends that are day traders and they trade on their own. They seem like they're pretty well versed in trading to become self-sufficient, I would say, in trading. What do you recommend to somebody starting off? Obviously, you want to educate yourself, which they can do on Tastytrade. But do you go and use the brokerage, or do you try to do it on your own? What's the advice there?
Well, so our brokerage is for all self-directed investors. So we're not making the trades for you. You're doing it yourself.
Oh, awesome.
And so one of the things, we have content for beginners and all the way to like super advanced. The best place to start is going to tastytrade.com and going to our Learn Center. And we actually have short videos with quizzes just to sort of learn the lingo and get the concepts down and the strategies. But as far as who this is for, it's not like just day traders. It's literally for all of us. People that have day jobs, night jobs too, when you look at having kids and, and working around the clock. But it's really to address the issues for individuals who don't want to just hand their money over and be charged really exorbitant fees. Instead, it's sort of empowering them to be able to do it themselves. But I think that probably is the best way I can say it.
That's great, because I feel like trading is so intimidating to the average person, because there's so much to learn, and your platform obviously provides all the knowledge. But even me, I'm a real estate guy, so I invest in real estate, and I feel like maybe I know more than the total beginner, but it's completely intimidating to me. So I actually bookmarked your page, and I mean this, and I want to go back and learn some stuff, because I put a lot of money into real estate, but I think you got to diversify. There's a lot of different ways to invest your money and protect your assets and set yourself up for retirement. But most people are so intimidated. And I think the lack of knowledge is what probably pushes somebody to a broker and says, hey, here's my money, and then charge me those crazy fees because I'm not educated.
And Mo, you are 100% correct. There's three things really when you look at it. People think that they need a finance degree or they need, a years of experience to invest on their own. That's not true. They think they need, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you don't. I mean, if you want to trade derivative products, if you want to trade options, you need $2,000 minimum in your brokerage account. But I mean, you can start out with $10 and, buy one share of stock if you want to, right? And then they don't think they have the time. And I think that third component, that's one of the things we sort of break down all three of those myths, and because we provide all the information for free, and we teach you how to sort of fit it into your life. I trade probably 500 times a year, and I'm maybe spending 5 minutes a day checking my positions, checking my strategies. I don't need to watch the market all day long because of the type of strategies that I deploy. But it all depends. My partner Tom Sosnoff, who is on air a majority of the time during the day, he's trading still the Tastytrade, I'll call it methodology. It's sort of this logical mechanical approach, but he trades with different probability sets because he can watch the market all day. To where I might go wider in my strategies just because I can go check and go, oh, it's leaning one way or another, and I maybe will adjust it, but I don't have to worry that I need to be glued to my screen.
And I think what some people don't understand is when you're trading, you have variable amounts of risk you can employ. I mean, people think, oh, I'm going to put my money in the market and I'm going to lose all of it. Yeah, you can be really risky. You can go and bet on penny stocks, or people were doing it in Bitcoin. Or you can be very conservative with what you're doing and not probably have to check as much.
Right. And all of the information, we have a whole research team that actually everything we do is statistical based. So if I want to go and trade a strangle, I want to sell a strangle, that's basically selling a put and a call. And I say, I want to trade and say that the stock's going to stay between this range for, 30 days, 50 days, whatever it may be. That's sort of the trade or the bet I'm making versus just going and buying stock, which might be a 50-50 chance of making money. But if I do a strangle, let's say, and I go about 80% probability of success, I have an 80% probability that it's going to stay in that range for that time period. And again, it's all statistics. So it's rather than just going and buying stock and crossing your fingers and going, I hope it goes up. It's because there's way too many factors that go into a stock price that there really is no predicting which way it's going to go. For anybody who's going to tell you that and say, oh, I know which way this is going to go, I mean, stay far away because maybe that's insider trading or somebody is just, it's their guess. Yep. It's their assumption.
When did you start? Did you start in finance first? What got you into the financial world?
Yeah, good question. So I actually started in accounting and finance because I had no idea what I wanted to do coming out of college, which a lot of people don't. But I thought, I'll be exposed to a lot of different industries. So I went into public accounting right out of college. And I was on the financial services team, and I was exposed to traders on the floor, and I was like, oh my God, this is where I need to be. Like just the energy.
High energy.
I'm like, that's my wheelhouse. No pun intended, by the way.
It was well done, though. Yeah, I mean, I have a couple people that worked at the Board of Trade, and the first thing they said is it was so energetic, and it was so fast-paced. And I can tell you have that personality to you now. And I tell people when it goes to just investing in general, there's no right or wrong time to start, but I'm sure you'll agree compounding interest is crazy. I mean, the younger you start, the better it is. And I feel like people are starting to play with, like I have Acorn on my phone because I need to learn stuff off of your site before I start investing on my own. But I feel like people are starting to, with the internet, have access to information. So they're starting to want to invest a little bit earlier. Do you find that as well?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, one of the things that we talk about is, don't wait until you're 50 to start investing, because that you end up making decisions. You have a lot more to lose, if you will. Versus jumping in, taking risks when you're younger. And I absolutely have that philosophy about sort of taking risks, jumping in, sort of, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and sort of learning along the way. You learn by doing so much more. And I'm going to say this, millennials in general, they want to learn. They want to do themselves. They just need some guided independence, I guess, let me put it that way. And that's something that we provide every single day. We don't give true guidance and advice in that sense. We provide the guidance and the guardrails and the logical mechanical approach. So it's amazing when you look at sort of our customer base. A lot of people would expect it to be the older, 50-year-old who has 50 plus that has, some money in the bank. It really ranges. We literally have like college kids all the way to retirees. So we run a wide span. It's about a third. When you look at millennials versus, Generation X versus, baby boomers, that's again our wheelhouse. We cover them all.
So good at that. we gotta bring her in to teach us how to incorporate that. That's awesome.
I love it.
The access to information is growing exponentially. It's crazy. You go online, you can figure out almost anything by just typing it into Google. What I again really, really like about your site is it's access to information, but really 8 hours of filming a day, that is a lot of filming. I mean, John and I do an hour a week, and John's probably like, I can't even imagine 8 hours a day of filming every single day.
Right.
But 8 hours a day is a lot of content.
It is. I will say that of every single day, there's three particular shows that our research team comes up with. And every research piece takes between 40 and 60 hours just to produce that one 15-minute piece. So there's 3 of those per day, and we basically have a dozen people on our research team, and overall we have about 110 employees split. I'm going to call it split down the middle. Half is on the brokerage side of things, and the other half is with the media group. But it's all original content. We don't put on other people's content. It's everything that we produce.
Well, it's great because it's a dynamic industry because it's changing so quickly all the time. So something that you guys are putting out today for 8 hours is, my presumption is it's applicable to today and right now instead of something where I might go watch it and now that's not really going to work for today's market.
Well, but we also have evergreen content. We have, and definitely those research pieces live on because there's learnings and takeaways from every single piece. There's some that are truly like, one is called Trades from the Research Team, and so and one's called you quant this, and it's all about like trade ideas for today and talking about what's happening in the market. And so maybe those might still be good to look at because there's still learnings and conversations that happen of the why behind you're doing this trade at that moment in time. But the rest, a big part of our content is actually evergreen too. And again, we have a lot of content out on YouTube. Most of the content is on Tastytrade.com where you're going to get sort of the full board of it, but we're on Roku and Apple TV and Amazon Fire TV and all of that too. But it's a wide range. So there's definitely evergreen content. Yeah.
Now, I don't want you to give financial advice because I know I can't ask that, but knowing you were coming on, somebody messaged me today and said, ask her about weed stocks because it's such a big thing.
Yeah.
Is it something that you guys are constantly researching now that it's becoming kind of the popular thing?
Yeah, no, and you know what? That's actually a great question. I would say we talk about weed stocks every single day in one segment or another because it is a hot topic and it is people are totally focused on it. We talk about digital currencies as well, which we'll be launching actually on our brokerage. I want to say in about 6 weeks. So we are talking about all of those things. And what we try to do is we try to make sure that we are staying in liquid markets because if they're not liquid, we don't feel good about talking about something that someone can't get in and out of easily.
Okay, so that's what liquid markets mean.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that we are only talking about those things. So where you're really seeing liquid markets, right, are on the exchanges. We don't talk about penny stocks or anything like that. We want you to be able to trade something solid, if you will.
Right.
But we talk about all the things that are interesting and that are going on, like with weed stocks and digital currencies. Those two are always hot topics every day.
So he who shall not be named, go on tastytrade.com and you'll be able to figure out. It wasn't John.
Nope.
It was somebody else I know. I was driving in and they said, ask about weed stocks. Go on tastytrade.com and listen every day.
There you go.
You'll get some tips on weed stocks.
That'd be great.
It's an interesting market. I've kind of looked into it a little bit, and the person who asked me to ask you keeps pushing me to invest in it. But because I'm not knowledgeable about it, I've just kind of stood back. But I bookmarked, and again, I'm going to look into it and become more knowledgeable, because real estate is one part of investing. But again, I don't just want to be invested there. So
Well, I can see you being the next best tasty trader, and
I'm
you're going to
excited.
learn options, and you're going to be trading before you know it.
look at that. She buttered me up to go on Tasty
Oh,
Trade.
my
And
goodness.
I'm take all my money. Here it goes.
Exactly.
No, I think it's something I've wanted to do. You coming on has probably motivated me to do it now. I did Bitcoin when it came out just because I was being crazy. And I made a little bit of money, unlike some of my friends. Cough, Matt Rosen, poor guy. Hope his wife's not watching, because now I think I just got him in trouble. They're on vacation. But after that, I always wanted to get into more traditional trading than just real estate. And I'm definitely going to be jumping on Tasty Trade.
Perfect.
Tell me about some of the other stuff you do. I'll ask about 1871 because I know you're on the board there. And I have some knowledge about 1871, having a tech startup. But I'll let you again explain 1871 to
Absolutely, yeah. So I'll say I'm deeply involved and entrenched in the tech community in general here in Chicago, and 1871 is one of the boards that I sit on. 1871 is an innovation hub for tech entrepreneurs, and it is one of those places. It's right at the Merchandise Mart. You walk in and you can feel the energy. The beautiful thing about 1871 is, for anybody who wants to start a company, they can come in and just get a desk and rent a desk, become a member, or they can get a private office. But the real value is in the connectivity there, meaning you have an incredible amount of talent through the universities that are connected through 1871. And you also have access to capital. So a lot of the VCs right here in Chicago are also connected into 1871. All the programming and looking at larger organizations, established organizations. A lot of times entrepreneurs want to tap into some of the public companies, some of the larger organizations that are already established that need innovative ideas, right? So a lot of those corporations are plugged into 1871. You sort of have that whole ecosystem in one place. There are a number of other innovation hubs throughout the city, like M-Hub focusing on manufacturing, and you have Matter, which is focusing on biotech. But 1871 is really sort of tech entrepreneurship as a whole. And they were ranked globally #1 for working with universities, which is amazing.
It's great that Chicago, we spoke about this a little bit off air, but it's great that Chicago is becoming a tech hub, because you think of Silicon Valley, you think of New York, you think of all these places. When we started looking into tech, we looked at these places. Some people were like, oh, you got to move out there, you got to move here to really be successful. But watching Chicago grow as a tech industry is really, really cool. And you guys are doing some great work with that.
Yeah, and what I'll say is the tech community as a whole is committed to that. We have a change in leadership coming, as you know, with the mayor's race. And one thing that the community is doing, led by Penny Pritzker and Chris Gladwin, is an initiative called P33. And I co-chaired the Capital and Finance Committee, and we are moving from phase 2, which is development of the plan to make Chicago a top-tier tech city. We're moving from the plan to execution here, and that's actually in process right now. So super exciting, because just like any sort of initiative, if you don't have the players that are going to ultimately benefit from that involved, it's often a miss. So you have truly players from all sectors coming together to make this happen.
And that's going to be wonderful. I mean, it's going to be great for the city of Chicago in general. You know, every time an article pops up that, when Google came, if Amazon comes, or another big company decides to make Chicago its home, because we are growing in the tech world, it helps boost the city in so many different ways. So thank you for that. And I'm excited to see where Chicago keeps going with that. You know, a lot of people have been poo-pooing Chicago about a million different things, but I think Chicago, whatever happens with the election, whoever wins, Chicago is going to keep on progressing forward in really, really good ways.
Yes, and we have some of the top tier universities here. When you look at Northwestern and IIT and University of Illinois and University of Chicago. All of those, that there's not many cities that can actually say that.
No.
And so the talent pool, we just got to keep them here. And keep them working with all of our
great
companies.
Universities, great companies, and I just think Chicago. I met some guys from New York in Mexico this week, and we were talking about the differences. Chicago is it's a big city, but it's also a small city where people connect with one another, I think, more than a lot of the big cities.
Well, it is also incredibly affordable. And I think when you look at the affordability around it, that alone is something, you know, place where you can actually raise a family and actually start a business at reasonable prices and be profitable.
When they explained their rent in Manhattan and then explained what their place looked like, I started chuckling. I said, yeah, I'll stick to Chicago. I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and then we're going to do a round table. I'm going to go to our second guest. You have some fans watching already, by the way. Nana is watching, Nancy. Winnie Gilbert is also watching and waiting patiently. And then there's a couple different people who just keep commenting. So I think you got some fans, Erik. We got Erik Baylis. He's a restaurant entrepreneur. He's the CEO of Big Onion Tavern Group, which is one of Chicago's leading powerhouses in the restaurant business. 12 locations?
Correct.
They have 12 locations. One is hard enough in the restaurant business, but you got 12. Thanks for coming on the show and tell us about the Big Onion Tavern Group.
Yeah, well, thanks for introducing me second. No big shoes to fill over here.
Yeah, good luck.
I think I got entered in the wrong episode, but
I think you're going to do just fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, good thing I don't get nervous too often, but I would if I had to follow her and I was a normal human.
Yeah.
But it was actually pretty interesting hearing everything that you had to say about your industry, and we're exactly the same. Exactly. So I was actually not texting people. I was taking kind of notes because my memory is, and it's more just you guys work for 3 shows a day and you put so many hours behind it, right? And people don't even get what you have to put behind it. You guys probably eat 3 meals a day, right? It's people don't know what Chef Jim Heflin does and what Michael Shawn does and what all these people do behind the scenes to create that one experience, which is pretty bizarre. And you talk more about, and we're just the non-glamorous ones. We're the one that, God forbid someone go to Yelp about some other professions, but for us, it's just easy, right?
Yeah.
So there's just a lot to go into, but I get excited. The educational piece, the education of producing new foods. I mean, Chicago is the hub for restaurants. I mean, that's the only time I get into politics is when someone doesn't realize that.
Yeah.
Chicago's a beautiful city with the best restaurants. I mean,
100% the best restaurants.
Yeah, the Illinois Restaurant Association, I don't know how Santoya and those guys don't get more credit. I mean, they're amazing of what they've done. I'm just amazing of what they've done with the city and why we're so sought after is the tourism. And most people come here for what? For
food and drinks.
Correct. And it's pretty bizarre how our industry is not looked at like that. I mean, I think it's getting better and better, but it really is. It's a tough industry without the glamour, without the. I'm sure if 1 million people read my title versus someone else's title, it's like, yeah, but that's bars and restaurants.
Yeah.
But I get excited because it's the same thing, and I appreciate success of other people, and just correlate it exactly with our industry. So it's pretty interesting.
What's very cool about what you guys do is there's a lot of restaurant groups that have one concept that they just begin to replicate over and over and over again. You guys have a lot of different concepts. What motivates you to come up, and how do you come up with a new concept? Because that's not easy.
Yeah, it's never been me. I mean, anyone can say that, but it never has. I'm just good at being the leader and putting everyone's ideas together.
Grab that bottle.
It's more a kind of a collaboration of a lot of people's ideas. Initially, we started Big Onion Tavern Group started by we wanted to be kind of widen our portfolio, if you will. So we wanted to have a breakfast place. We wanted to have a lunch place. We wanted to have a nightclub. And as it is very, very difficult. I mean, with 637 employees, it's really difficult when you're almost speaking different languages. So it has been a goal of ours recently to we've re-examined, and we are probably going to bring it back a little bit and really focus on what we are good at. Because it seems like bars and restaurants, they all come in the same category, right? It's absolutely not.
Yeah.
Breakfast, we learned the hard way, is completely different than lunch.
Right.
And it's completely different than dinner. And a shot bar is completely different than a cocktail bar. So there's a lot that goes into it. And I think that over the years we've learned, Big Onion Tavern Group as a whole has learned kind of what we're good at in our niche, and we have some big plans going forward of what we're really going to do.
And I think you guys, just like Kristi, your industry also trends change, because what was cool 5 years ago is like the cocktails are different. The food groups that people like are different. The weird allergies people are now coming up with are completely different.
Absolutely, and that's probably the reason why getting into stocks and getting into investments, bars and restaurants are the worst investments, by the way. I get calls all the time. I don't understand why. I wrote down your website. I'm going to send people your way. The ones I don't like, I'll listen to, but the rest of them I'll send your way. But you're right, and that's what people don't get. They don't get of how much reading we have to do and how we have to spend time on the trends. And unfortunately, as we get older, it's not what we want. It's not about us.
Right.
And I think that's something that Big Onion and my team really understood, is that it's not about you. If you're the best you're the best lawyer around, it's about you. If you're the best roofer, why are you different?
Right.
If you're the best at almost anything, and then all of a sudden, it takes a lot of money to start a bar or restaurant, so it's about you, about you, about you. That's how you made your money. It's not about you anymore. It's about the people that walk in the door. And that's probably the most humbling, why you see so many people that are successful in every other aspect that aren't successful in this industry, because you have to turn it around and have to really humble yourself, and you have to say, I don't know anything. I have to continue to learn.
Well, I jotted your motto down because I was on your website. I was looking around, researching everybody like I do. And you said your motto was to make each and every guest feel as though they're walking into their own personal home. That's something I've never seen phrased like that in a restaurant group. You see people, hey, we want people to have a good time. But I love that motto. Where did you guys come up with that being kind of what you're looking at?
It was sitting there, and I studied a lot of other people's businesses, from the small, successful business to, success, the word is relative, right?
Right.
To the big successes, the big monsters, and they all had a mission statement. But to me, the ones that really succeeded were the ones that believed in it. I kind of interviewed people that started their own business, and then people that worked for Apple, and people that, and I remember, like, I didn't break my phone on purpose every week. It just happened. And I would literally.
Do you have insurance on it now?
I have every kind of phone insurance you possibly can. Yeah. That's something I would take stock in, me breaking my phone. So, but basically, I would talk to the employees at Apple even, and they really get it. They really get their mission. Then I came back to think, man, if my wife and I are sitting at our house and we love to entertain, and believe it or not, I don't like all of her friends. Sorry, I know her mom's listening, you said, I think. But anyways, sorry, Mom.
You got a lot of people listening.
So,
you have Green Curtain Team here for Erik Bayless.
There we go. We can talk about them later. They're a great organization.
Our mutual buddy Mike Cannonbone and Erik. Oh, what a nice guy. Are both geniuses at what they do. All right, thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. I slipped them a free lunch for that one.
Yeah. Don't beat me up next time.
Anyway, so I got back to my wife and I sitting there entertaining someone. We like to have people over, and like I said, I don't like all of her friends, but I knew if I'm sitting on the couch and her friends walk in, if she says hello, I'm getting up and greeting them, right? Awesome. When we cook them a meal, I don't care. I'm going to help her do whatever it takes to make them have the best experience ever, right? And at the time, I was thinking to myself, how come people don't do that in the restaurants?
Sure.
Why? Because mentally, what do you tell yourself? I'm going to work.
Right.
If you do the same exact thing that you love, but you do it as a job, it's weird how you don't appreciate it as much. And that's really what I tell her about. I said, what are the biggest problems at work? Someone's late. Well, if you were at your own personal home, when you had people over, would you show up late? They're like, no. Why do you do it here then, right? Which that's not my table. Well, at your house, when I say, hey, they're not my friends, I'd be divorced pretty quick, right? I say, wouldn't work out too well if someone's using the restroom at my house and I'm like, that's the barback's job. That probably wouldn't go over too well, right? If I didn't throw them toilet paper, right?
Right.
I try to give extreme examples. And what it does is really, really awesome is that people start getting it. People start getting it and they start having fun. Because when you put your shoes on, if all the cliches, I'm not a big quote guy because it's just like, do it. Excuse my language, but fucking do it. Don't just make a quote.
Don't worry, we're not on any air that has to bleep us out,
Nope.
so you can swear all you want.
Awesome. I was a little nervous about that.
No.
Fortunately, I can't stop.
Swear away.
But it's pretty interesting if you look at it that way. And what's really cool is everyone has bought into it. Everyone has bought into it, and it's awesome. I mean, my biggest success has been people that have only worked for us for 6 months or 7 months, and they went on to tell me that they started their own company in another field, and they've used that same motto. And it's truth. If you do as if you would in your own personal home in any of your guys' industries, you're going to get better at it. You're going to be good.
It's such a unique twist to it, and I really, really like that. And you've built a culture, and it sounds like you've built a culture where the people who are coming to work at these establishments are enjoying what they're doing because of your leadership, and it's fun for the people that come through. I think one of the worst things when you go into, whether it's a breakfast place, lunch place, a restaurant, or a late night bar, is the person that is working with you there is just in a crappy mood or not fun. Some of the best experiences I've had, setting aside whether the food's good or not, I think even if the food's not the best, but if the experience is great, I'm happy to go back there again. But if you have the best food in the world, but your experience really sucks, I'm probably never coming back.
1,000%. I have a question for you guys. When's the last time you wrote a bad Yelp review at your buddy's house?
Never.
Exactly.
Well, I don't write bad Yelp reviews either.
But if you did, I challenge any Yelpers that are listening. When's the last time you went to your mother-in-law's and wrote a bad Yelp review?
Well, I'm very anti-Yelp. I tried to sue them once, and they told me to go jump in front of a bus.
I did hear that story, but I mean, unfortunately, that's our livelihood. We have to, so I don't condone that comment. So,
yeah.
So, unfortunately. But the reason being is because we break down the barrier to be their friends.
Yeah.
I tell everyone, they're not order takers. The most successful you'll be in life is relationships. That's going to take your ceiling to another level with any industry. And the next person that walks in the door could be your best friend, could be your wife, could be your husband, could be the guy that saves you, could be someone that fixes your tires, could be anyone. And you don't know if you just sit there. Get to know them. Don't be an order taker. Get to know them as if they're walking into your own home.
Well, everybody's very lucky to have you in your group, because I feel like and I have a couple friends in the industry, I feel like their biggest problem always is staffing and personnel, and making sure that personnel are consistent or giving the experience that you guys obviously give to all of the people that come through your establishments. And I think your success probably has to do with a million things that you do right, but I think in large part it has to be that, your leadership and giving that experience to people.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I don't always see that. I just see that people aren't educated. People are like, you're late, you're written up. It's explain to them why. Millennials are amazing, or they're amazing. Like, whether I'm a millennial or not, I still haven't figured out. I don't know. But I always hear.
How old are you?
I'm 39, so
I
guess I'm right there. Right?
We're kind of at the tail end of that.
You're on the cusp.
That's why I really like. Yeah, okay, maybe I wanted this.
I try not to associate with them in some things, and other things I do.
Yeah, right.
It depends on what we're talking about.
The best of both worlds, but it's really funny that how I look at millennials is that they're smarter. They get instant gratification, as you talked about, as Kristi talked about earlier. I mean, it's just amazing. It's the same thing. It's just you have to change your business model to that, and it's educating them. Even politics, I don't get into it too much because I get frustrated. I like to get involved, but I don't. But if they just educated each other,
yeah,
it's so crazy that if you just, why do you want that law? Why do you not want that law? If they got over the wins and losses and bet in the middle, I mean, a lot more would happen, right? It's great, and that's a thing. I mean, I appreciate the accolades and all, but to me, it seems like common sense. It's like, here's why. I mean, I tell all of our managers, who are amazing people, I hire them based off of their personality. You can teach anyone almost anything, I believe. It's more, what do? You educate the employee, right? You motivate, and you lead by example. And if you do those three things, then you're like, Susie B, I'm really sorry. I told you why it's not okay to be late, right? I first told you that, right? Then I'm never late, am I? Right? And then I motivate you to get on time, and you're still not here. High five, you no longer work here, and they should understand.
Right.
And you'd be surprised how much they do understand.
I really like how you approach that. And one of the things you just mentioned, I got asked a while back, what's one thing when you're coaching and training you can't change in somebody? I said, you can teach them anything. I don't know if I can teach them personality. It's not something I think I can teach somebody. Their personality is, by the time I reach them, formed in a certain way.
I disagree. My wife and I fight about this all the time. She goes, you're just like that. And I said, well, if that's the case, then I should just quit everything, because that's all it's the cool thing to me is I think there's, about me, how I feel is that there's a couple percentage of people that are like my wife. They're just genuine and just nice, and they pick up $100 bill. They're like, I wonder who lost this. Yeah. And then there's a 2% are just scum, right? Then the rest of us in the middle, I mean, I think we need to open their eyes. I really think we do, because you never know their background, where they're from, and it's, are you going to win and change everyone? But I mean, I know one of my passions is being a wrestling coach. If you have that mindset, to me, it's a lot easier to coach the kid that's already on second base or the kid that's already far advanced in wrestling, right? To me, I want the kid that didn't succeed in anything.
So not Mike Cannon. He's still watching.
Well, yeah, he probably started there
He's going to
somewhere.
beat me up for saying that. He said Yelpers pull guard. That's funny. What got you into it? Because you definitely have the personality for it. And some people just truly don't have the personality to do what you're doing. What got you into the restaurant world?
I legitimately fell into it. It was not by choice. It was really, I had an opportunity here in Chicago that I thought, playing for a certain football team in the area. I thought, and I was, I borrowed some money from my buddy Joe. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Joe. There's my shout out, John.
There you go, Joe Pachuca. And I borrowed money from him and never really got even a chance to do what I wanted to do. And I knew to myself I had to pay him back. He then got me a job as a door guy at a bar. And I fell in love with it. I'm like, these people have to talk to me? This is great. And then from there, I kind of just worked my way up. And I mean, it's a long story. It could take the whole hour. But really just learned. And I think my biggest attribute was that every time I see someone successful, I mean, I'm going to be here an hour after the show asking Kristi, like, how'd she get there? What'd you do? Blah, blah. It's like just learning from every position and really taking it in. I mean, I like to talk, but I actually like to listen.
Have you found that a lot of people you approach, because I say this to people all the time, most successful people are very open to helping you succeed as well, so long as you approach them and ask, how did you get there?
Absolutely. And that's the funny part. Very few people do. I mean, I don't know. I think I have my definition of success. I'm not even close to there yet. Not even close. That's why I kind of shrugged it off.
That's a big key point of an entrepreneur, is they're always trying to reach a different level of success.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, but at the same time, like that's the passion that I have, is helping other people. I mean, that's what. And then at the end of the day, you're like, people say today flew by. I'm like, we need to help enough people. Like, fuck, today flew by. Like, I talked to 600 people. You're the type of person who say today flew by that didn't have time. Then wake up earlier. Then like it's to me, it's really, to answer your question, it is true successful people want to help others because it's awesome. Yeah. It's really awesome. It's a lot cooler to give a Christmas present than to receive one. I truly think, unless you're under 3 years old, that's my 3-year-old would definitely much rather get one. Other than him, I think most of us really, it feels great, and you remember those wins.
Well, you're a giver's gain guy, and you just bump and set a perfect transition into something you're working on, the Never Had a Bad Day Foundation. I don't want to butcher that at all, so I'm definitely going to let you explain what that is.
Awesome. Yeah, Never Had a Bad Day was something that I've always said my whole life. I probably can't remember, but if you guys asked how my day was going, I'm sure I probably said that. The backstory of that was I was not the greatest kid, and I had community service, believe it or not. And I was in a retirement home, and there was the one patient that nobody really liked. He was the miserable, throws Jell-O back type of guy.
Yeah.
I was intrigued. I wanted to be his friend. And he would always say he never had a bad day. I'm like, we never had a bad day. Why are you so miserable? And he sat me aside, and he told me, he said, you know what? It's all perspective. If you're going to be miserable, then guess what? You're going to think like everyone else does. You're the first person to talk to me, and therefore I accept you. I just have a shield up. And it was kind of a way I was really interested in. And then we became pretty close, and we talked a lot until he passed away. But I always said it, and it's really funny through my life. I've always said it. Always. Didn't really know what it meant in the beginning, but always said it. And people get almost pissed off at it. They really will go, what do you mean you never had a bad day? What do you mean this never happened? This never happened? Like, I mean, it's kind of funny. It made me say it more and more and more. Fast forward, I had a business partner that kind of pushed me to really starting this. I mean, because I really love to help, love to give. And we started a foundation called Never Had a Bad Day. What our mission is we help kids going through pediatric cancer, 0 to 18. We help their families. 365 days a year, we help someone. So we teamed up with Lurie's Hospital. We're very in the infancy stages right now. We teamed up with Lurie's, and we help a family every day, whether it be as simple as $10 for parking or it be $10,000 for their mortgage. Some of the cool things about us are that we don't have an application. So we can get a phone call and we can say, hey, guess what? Johnny's mortgage is due tonight. Can you guys pay it? Yes, we can pay it right away. We pay the bills directly, so they don't have any tax problems or anything like that, which I think is another
It's incredible.
big issue. Yeah, and the coolest thing about us, I think, is that the first year, and I'll try to say this quickly, is that the first year we raised X amount of money, and it was mainly my friends with big donations. So then what do you think they asked me for?
Money back.
Money back for their foundations. And I remember looking at my wife and being like, fuck, like, I'm not getting this money. I can't give this much money back. I got to wear these sweet suit coats and shit. Like,
Your pockets
and,
square.
and these socks to keep up with John over there. Yeah, it's just not going to work, right? So I decided, I kind of got back with the board, which our board is absolutely amazing. And I said, guys, we need something that's really going to keep this going and more sustainable. So we came up with a business model that we approach businesses. And what we do is help them with their needs. Business needs have been dealing with millennials, high turnover, and giving back to the community. So we go to Business X. They have 100 employees, say. We tell them, make a goal, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, whether it be over a month or a year. From there, we get all their employees' emails, and we take it from there. So basically what we do is we make each employee a fundraising page. We come in, we motivate them, our team comes in, we show them what we're doing, show them how much it makes a difference. We ring a bell in the morning. We wake them up to different treats. We give prizes for who raised the most money that week and did everything. And then most importantly, at the end of that month or year, or whatever their time period is, the top fundraisers actually get to meet the families.
That's amazing.
And what that creates is the relationship piece. So really the whole thing is about the relationships. So basically we create 365 relationships a year.
That's incredible. The giver's gain mindset that you employ by just doing the Never Had a Bad Day Foundation, you also transfer that to giving to the businesses that you're working with in a way to gain back to the charity itself. So it's a giver's gain on a couple different platforms. That's incredible. John put up the link. It's nhbd.org. And you have a special promo for the next 24 hours. Can I announce that?
Yeah. So basically, what I like to do is anyone that donates to Never Had a Bad Day, nhbd.org, my wife and I will personally match the donation.
Perfect. For how long?
23 and a half hours.
All right. Perfect.
Very nice.
John, we're going to do it, and we're going to have him match it. You have Mickey Moo and your beautiful wife are watching. We love you, Daddy Erik. I couldn't go without at least shouting that one out.
Awesome.
You have a lot of fans. What was your first one? What was the first location for you guys?
Irish Oak. I actually jumped on board. A dear friend of mine, Ryan Marks, was a small partner. And
He's a friend of the show.
Yeah, for sure. He's a great guy, someone I look up to for sure. He was a director of operations and had a small piece of the company. And kind of as they grew, was just really kind of needed help with the other side of the business. Ryan taught me everything on the restaurant side where I was just a shot and bar guy. So we kind of walked in and met him, and we kind of hit it off. It was pretty awesome. He taught me what a silverware roll-up was, I think, and I taught him that how you can go deal with food, and I'll do a round of shots over here, and I'll make more than you.
What's your favorite round of shots?
I drink only vodka pretty much these days, but
Okay.
Going back, I was a big tequila guy and big Jameson guy. So
Okay. Tequila for me. John
J-Mo.
drinks everything. You'll have a shot of whatever you give him. You guys are in Nashville now, so you guys are expanding. Or is the expansion in Nashville going to continue to happen, or is Nashville
we're keeping it in our pocket. Nashville was an eye opener, meaning that I'm a big relationships guy, and it was like starting all over. It was a lot different than I thought it would be. I mean, having to be there every day, be away from your family. So we're reconsidering. I mean, now that we're there, I can see us expanding in Nashville as well. But moving to other cities, we're open to everything. But at the same time, we're really trying to hone in on what we're good at. I think the Chicago market and the suburbs are really what we're focusing on now.
Awesome. Any advice for entrepreneurs? And I'm going to ask you in a second, Kristi, so I'll give you a second to think about it.
Cheater.
Yeah, I'm going to put him on the spot.
So putting me on the spot. I mean, what I would say is just fucking do it. Like literally,
I love the motto.
Life's not that hard, man. I mean, I think that people that were born on second base, I don't know how they do it. Like it's so much tougher
Yeah.
than it is with someone that has to start it from the beginning. And ultimately, don't be too busy. That's bullshit. And wake up earlier. Wake up as early as you possibly can. Just wake up. Snooze button I think it should be against the law. I think it's just fucking ridiculous. Like, it's absolutely a waste of time.
I agree. If they took, I use it too much, but if they took it off my phone, probably make my life easier.
Yeah. So, I mean, just get rid of it. I mean, if you get rid of it, then you have to wake up, right? So
I guess you're right.
Well, I guess you could set another alarm, but whatever. Wishful thinking. It's not it's not my wheelhouse.
Have you heard Arnold? Arnold gives a quote or he gives a speech, and he talks about how people say, "Oh, you need 8 hours of sleep." He goes, "Sleep faster."
Yeah.
Just sleep less. Like just get up earlier.
Arnold's
that's my best Arnold impression.
But overall, I guess to circle back and put that into one quick thing is like make goals, right? But do them.
Yeah.
Right. And then at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing that people don't do is reflect. Take 5 minutes, whether it's meditate, whether it's yoga, whether it's ever, just reflect and think about it. Because I'm so tired of people saying, "I can't believe it's Christmas already." Like, and whenever it says that, I grab their arm and I'm like, "Oh, really?" And I start telling them things that they've done since last year that I know, and I'm like, "Yeah, you can believe it. It's been 365 days, right?"
Yeah.
Like people don't realize. I mean, if we all took the time right now to think of everything we did till we got to this point of our day, and just close your eyes and think about everything, you're like, "Wow, people are awesome," and we've done so much today. But instead, you just look at the cliff notes, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Realize that you're awesome. People are absolutely awesome. Reflect on it and say, "I'm awesome. Let's just continue to build on this."
Well, I really like that because it gives you gratitude for how far you've come too.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, I coach and train a lot of agents, and they're really pissed about the last like 2-3 weeks. And I'm like, look at how far you came. You look back, reflect a little bit. I really, really do like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to sleep faster.
It's awesome. I mean, sleep faster, as Arnold said. I mean, sleep faster, but ultimately, you're not going to be successful until you realize that you're having small wins. You don't ever just wake up, as they say, and wake up and say, "Today I'm going to be a horrible fucking person." Right?
Yeah.
You wake up and you make all these small decisions because you're not reflecting on your day, and you're so far off one day when you wake up that it's really hard to get back there.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard, but if you do it every night and reflect, say, "Man, I was a fucking mess today. I did horrible stuff," right? I'm going to start again right now being a good person. Then you're not going to go far off. It's driving to your house. It's really funny to me. If I make a wrong turn, what do? I turn the fuck around, right? But in anything else in life, if I'm trying to lose weight, I'll start on Monday. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that makes zero sense to me. I don't get it. People are awesome, and they need to realize it. And then it's easy. I mean, I almost don't want to give everyone the keys because I'm kidding, obviously, but it's that easy. It's really that easy, and it's almost frustrating to me that people don't see it sometimes.
I can imagine your staff is very motivated by you all the time.
So I like to think so.
Kristi, how about you? Piece of advice, entrepreneur or trading wise, anything?
Oh, I have a whole list, but first of all, I really love that sleep faster thing.
I'll send you the link of him talking about it. He said, the average person wants to sleep 8 hours a day, and I tell him sleep faster. Get to the
Sleep is
chopper.
overrated. Sleep is overrated.
Sleep is overrated, but you have to listen to it because he truly means passionate, like me sweating when he's doing it. That's not sweat, that's passion.
Yeah.
So he literally goes, he means it. But I'm just
No, it's a great clip of how he shows how he went from, just being a guy in Austria with nothing to becoming who he was, and how many different things he had his hands in when he got
very
there.
cool. Very cool. Well, so I have a list of advice, so I'm going to try to
give
run
me
through it
give
really
me as
super
much of it as
quickly, and
you don't have to. We got time.
succinctly. So I'll try to give you my top couple. First of all, one of the things I do say all the time, and I really believe it, and it's sort of my motto, is opportunity is all around you. Pay attention in trading, in business, and in life. Kind of going back to meeting people and relationships. Truly, you have no idea where your next opportunity is going to be, so you should pay attention. The one thing too, it's funny. I'm gonna go off of Erik as well. And I'm a big fan of Nike, and that just do it mentality, hands down, is I live by that. Just jumping in, back to that being comfortable, being uncomfortable, like taking risks. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Just ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen, and be okay with that. You make a plan and you turn around, right? But it's I would say that anything, probably my other piece of two more I'll throw in there is anything you want to do and you want to do really well, you have to practice. It's not going to come with, that you're not going to just be the tip of the iceberg. You have to work at it. It's that foundation you have to build first. So practicing and working hard at it and embrace that if you're an entrepreneur and dive in. The other thing that I will say that I see a lot when you look at different failures out there, there's really kind of top 3 reasons that startups fail. And one is there's no customer need for the product that somebody put out there, right? So you need to get your product out there and throw the spaghetti at the wall and see if customers actually like it and want it. Like, it's better done than perfect. Don't wait till it's perfect. That'll be too late. And the second thing is, don't run out of money,
Right.
you know? So make sure that if you're raising capital, that you are truly starting that 6 months to a year ahead of time. So understand your numbers, know your numbers, and when you're going to need that. And then the third one is really about team. And it's so important to have the right team around you. And a lot of startups fail because they don't have the right team. That I look at sort of the team at Tastytrade. We've been together for literally, I'm going to say decades, because we've found sort of the right balance, the right yin and yang of all of our team. And making people feel like they can make a difference every day. Empowering your employees is so critically important, because I want to wake up, you know, before my alarm and jump out of bed because I love what I do every single day. That do what you love what you do. But I want our employees to feel the same way. And how do you do that? Well, you do that by actually being able to make a difference, and people actually coming in and contributing and feeling like they were part of the process, part of the company you're building. And that's that I think is so critically important. So helping people, sort of empower them to make change and make a difference in the company that you're building.
I really love all of that. I mean, both of you, you're infectious to be around, and you're very motivational to be around. So both your employees and staff have to be just incredibly lucky. If you guys are watching, you guys are lucky. Very, very lucky. And I'm sure you guys are lucky to have incredible staff as well. But great advice. Teams get so much further when they work together. I always say fail forward. Everybody who's going to be successful is going to fail at some point. It wasn't my quote. It was a good friend Tommy Choi's quote. And everybody fails. Just fail forward and learn from it. And I love what you said about the tech part of things. We put out our product and we realized, oh, shoot, the market wants us to adjust a little bit. But had we never put it out, we would have probably put it out and we would have had to change it anyways. And we realized we got to shift some gears, and we're doing that now, but we would have never known. You know, that fear of putting it out, and we were worried. We said, how is this going to be received? Wasn't received like we thought it was going to be received, but we'll get it to the place where it's got to be.
Right. And the key to that, too, is making sure that you've created the open feedback channels so you can have a two-way conversation with a customer, right? Versus just going, hey, I'm going to put that out and let me send a survey out. And you don't get sort of the deeper conversation and sort of the why behind it. So one of the things that we actually have a philosophy on is we openly answer emails directly from customers, just because we're CEOs, co-CEOs, Tom and I, all of us, and we instill this in all of our employees. You treat customers as if they're like sitting right next to you, right? So taking the emails, the phone calls, and all of that, they're friends. It's a relationship, but making sure that you are accessible. Whether you're the CEO or whether you're the support person, doesn't matter. You just need to be accessible, because it's the reason you're there every single day is to serve the customer. And that's what we want to do.
How does your day start? I'm guessing his starts with no snooze button, but how does your day get started?
No snooze button either. So
really?
I'm up at 5, working out, in the shower by 5:45, making lunch and dinner before I even wake my kids up. So that it's one of those things that I am definitely a morning person, and that's sort of like, I'm going to call it my time, because I don't really get any kind of my time with 3 kids. Sure. And I call it, I have a day job and a night job too.
How old
but
are
I
they?
love it that way. So 12, 16, and 19. 3 girls.
3 girls.
Yep.
So you're busy.
Yep. And 2 girl dogs. So my husband has enough,
He's outnumbered.
He's outnumbered.
By a lot. Well, incredible advice. And how about your day? I'm actually curious. I know it starts early, Erik,
Yeah,
but what?
4:30.
4:30.
Yeah, so I've fallen off but my normal routine is 4:30 a.m. I mean, to be honest, it's sometimes to beat the traffic, but work out downtown and then just really, I might probably get more done before 7 a.m. I mean, if you haven't noticed, I have ADD a little bit. So I get more done, something shiny than it takes me another hour. So I get more done before most people wake up, and I love it. I'm a morning person. I'm a night person too, so I don't really understand sleeping.
You sleep faster, very fast.
I sleep very fast. I'm not good at much. I'm very good at sleeping. Very efficient.
I'm actually like you. Although I'm not up as early as you guys are, but I'm usually up till 2:30, 3 o'clock. But then I get 4 to 5 hours of sleep max.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, and that's
it's funny that I talked to John on the way in here that I've been in this building numerous times at 4:30 a.m. My gym was actually on the other side of this floor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was in here?
There was the training facility. I forget what it was.
I don't remember either.
I forget what it was called, but I had a trainer that was here, but it was right on the other side.
Our old jiu-jitsu school was actually out of this building too. It used to be.
I think it was on floor
Synergy
2, right? And then floor 3 was the gym.
Yeah.
So.
Small world.
pretty
You have
funny.
some more shout outs. You have Joe Kamick said Bayless, exclamation point. And then Tony Elliott said, so proud to see where Erik started and to see all his accomplishments. Definitely a mentor.
Awesome.
You have a lot of fans.
Thank
Your favorite
Thank
book.
you, Tio.
Your favorite book is also definitely top 5 for me. How to Win Friends and Influence People. So I know that's a big one for you. What's a big taking point from that for you?
I just love that. Basically, it's almost a formula to get someone to like you.
Which in your industry is definitely a must.
Yeah, I think in any industry, really. I think every industry is the same. I mean, every industry is the same, and the people are fucking awesome. Like, why wouldn't you want to get to know someone? Right? It's like my thing is that most people's best friends, right, are people that they either live next door to them or that they grew up with, or that was in their homeroom, or this and that, because they were forced to be their best friends. Imagine if you had that relationship with all those people that you didn't try to, right? And that's why I look at it. I mean, I think it's kind of funny. The Little Train That Could is actually my favorite book, first book I read, I think. But it's just that sounds better on a resume when I write the Dale Carnegie thing. But I mean, people would look at me and say, "Yeah, he breaks things." but it's the same philosophy. But the best thing I got out of Dale Carnegie is really just that. Look at those habits, and it's amazing that you meet someone. And I remember sitting there, and I would write it down, and I would meet someone and be like, "Okay, let's try this. Nice to meet you." Blah 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 blah. They hated me. They hated me, right? And I would turn around. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't do this, right? Yeah. And then the funny thing is, what you realize is, it's just be genuine.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all it is. But then you forget again, and then you forget again, and that's the thing. It's like, no, I fuck up every day, like every single day with relationships, with everything. But at least I say that I did. Yeah, I don't blame it on them.
Very self-aware you are.
If someone doesn't like me, it's probably my fault, right? It's if I get in an argument. If you get an argument with someone, if you think about it, it's why. It's because they don't think like you. You think that they think like you, and that's the only reason you argue with them. There's no reason you get mad at them. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. But Dale Carnegie, if anyone hasn't read it, I'm a big audio while I'm driving.
That's what I was about to ask you, because you drive in from the suburbs.
Yeah,
you're a big audiobook guy.
It's big words.
Yeah.
But it's just repetitive, the book. But I mean, I probably listened to it. I mean, without exaggerating, hundreds of times.
Wow.
So whenever I'm having a bad day, I'll just throw it in there, and I can recite it pretty much. But it just gets you back to thinking.
They should use you for the audible voiceover on it. That would be fun. You just read the whole book, and then I'll listen to it 100 times.
Perfect. I'm in.
Kristi, how about you? Are you a Audible gal or?
Not so really. I'm usually doing. I mean, there are other things that I'm usually doing, but from a book standpoint,
yeah.
I have one that I just haven't. Nothing's knocked it off the top, which is Steve Jobs' book, by Walter Isaacson.
Great book.
And I can't. I'm still enamored by a lot of things that Steve Jobs has done. So there's nothing that's really sort of compared so far.
That's another good one. I've read that one. Two really good book recommendations for those of you, because I always get people, I see them on Facebook or Instagram, shoot out book recommendations. Those are two really good ones, especially if you're going to try to be an entrepreneur, and especially if you're going to try to get better at being a good leader for people that work for you. Because both those are really good books for that. John, do we have anything else for today?
No, I think we covered everything. Great energy, great interviews, great people. Just an awesome situation.
Yeah, I think you lost your camera. I saw you move it around.
Yeah.
So they can't see you.
Right. So just my booming voice.
But thank you two for coming on. I probably could keep you guys on for 3, 4, 5 hours each.
Legit.
Definitely for those of you who are looking to learn how to trade, learn about investing, check out Tastytrade. I'm not just saying this. I'm going to go on it, and you're definitely going to hear from me because trading has always been a very intimidating thing for me, and I feel like I might be starting on second base to somebody starting on first base when it comes to trading because I read a ton and I'm pretty well researched. But going on the site, it really put me at ease when it comes to learning. And I'm a visual guy, so you guys have videos for everything. And I think a lot of people are more visual than they are the type of person who's going to read something. So I encourage you guys, check it out. I'm definitely going to check it out. I'm probably going to reach out and ask you some questions and bother you a little bit.
And yeah, tastytrade.com and the Learn Center is a great place to start. And I'm going to throw out too, my email address is Kristi@tastytrade.com, Kristi at tastytrade.com. If anybody has any questions, again, all about accessibility, happy to answer and direct you, in any way throughout the site.
You weren't kidding.
Super happy to have anybody check it out.
You weren't kidding about email her. She's going to answer your emails.
Yep.
I like Elon Musk does that on social media sometimes, but sometimes really late
Sometimes
at
he
night.
gets in trouble though.
Yeah, sometimes he gets in trouble. He says some things, but
always say the right things.
it's always interesting to see him because I follow him start responding to people. And I'm like, that's really him actually responding to people. But it's great that you take time to actually respond to the people who are watching on your platform. I'm definitely really excited to learn about it. And for my buddy who asked about the wheat stocks, that's where we're going to go to learn about this stuff. So Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me on.
And for all my buddies, because I do have some that are now in the tech world as that starts to grow, check out 1871. I'm definitely going to be checking it out and contacting you about that a little bit more.
Perfect.
And thank you to Erik for coming on. One restaurant group is really hard to have, or one restaurant location. Having 12 is incredible. Your personality and your excitement is really pretty infectious. It's crazy, and I think people who are working for you are obviously very lucky. Check out Never Had a Bad Day Foundation. Obviously, if you guys donate, he's going to match it. So go donate $1 million and let's get him to sweat a little bit more.
It's nhbd.org.
nhbd.org. I'm definitely going to go on it, and what an incredible thing you're doing with that. And for companies who he can help you guys out with everything he's doing. I mean, I'm motivated just listening to him. I'm sure if I spent another 2 hours with him, I'd probably learn how to operate my business at a much, much higher level. So get this guy to come out to your office and then allow them to help you to be able to help Never Had a Bad Day. And I love that motto because it is relative. And I think
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm as well going to email you probably not while driving, of course, but on the way up to Northbrook here. After
I sadly text and email and drive. I got to stop.
I'm trying to break that habit as well. So.
I know. It's I have a friend of mine who he takes his phone and he puts it in.
That's what I started doing.
in his bag, and because he's got the ability to hit talk on his new car, he just doesn't text then. So maybe that's what you and I'll have.
That's the best piece of advice yet today.
Yeah.
I like that.
I absolutely agree. But thank you for having me on.
I appreciate you guys coming on, and we're probably going to have you guys on again because I think we could talk for hours and hours.
Absolutely.
With you guys.
Actually, my better half already made a donation.
Oh, awesome.
From the two of us to your...
Hopefully too many people aren't listening.
Oh, wonderful.
Another birthday's coming up.
Thank you. Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you very much, Maggie.
Yeah, really appreciate it, Maggie. Great interviews from Donovan Monero. And Maggie, actually, she mentioned what the socks were. Let me say that before we get off air. Socks from Merino.
Merino, correct.
Yeah, socks from Merino.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have matching socks to me and Erik. Sorry, buddy. Not going to be cool anymore.
Oh, I got drawers full. It's great.
Our guests for next week are TBD because our guests that we're supposed to be on have a little bit of a hiccup. But we will have a really cool guest on next week, Wednesday at 3 o'clock. I'm excited to announce who I think we're going to have on, but I don't want to do it quite yet. John, anything else?
Yeah.
Cool.
We're good, man.
Check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. John always smiles when I try to say Stitcher because I goof it up, say it 3 times really fast. YouTube. And Spotify.
Yeah, check out the website, too.
Check out our new website, aewheelhouse.com. All of our past episodes are on there. Mm-hmm. And, check us out. Share us. Love us. We really appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week.
In 3, 2, 1.